What if you were unaware of what your left hand was doing when you decided to look at something else? Or every time you walked into a public place, you had to be fearful of your hand acting inappropriately towards another, or even yourself. On this episode of True Life, you will meet two young people who suffer from alien hand syndrome, a rare neurological disorder in which one hand functions involuntarily, with the victim completely unaware of its actions.
It's just so hard.
Beverly was diagnosed with severe epilepsy at the age of 7. In order to control these intense epileptic attacks, she underwent neurological surgery to cut her corpus callosum. Although these procedures alleviated the intense epileptic attacks, this then caused a disconnect between the two hemispheres of the brain, causing the symptoms of alien hand syndrome to occur. Beverly has been living with alien hand syndrome for 7 years now, and recently has developed agoraphobia, irrational fear of public places.
To college next year, but people, public places, I'm not ready for that.
Her family wants her to get out of the home and move to college next year, but Beverly would prefer to stay in the comforts of her home forever, avoiding the public and avoiding scrutiny of her syndrome. Will she be able to overcome her fears and live a satisfying life with alien hand syndrome? Or will she continue to isolate herself from the rest of the world?
Excuse me. The most common occurrences of alien hand syndrome arise in patients who have had their corpus callosum severed, a surgery we often perform, like in Beverly's case, to alleviate intense side effects of epilepsy. To grasp why the splitting of the corpus callosum causes alien hand syndrome, one must be familiar with basic anatomy of the brain. To begin, the frontal lobe controls all motor skills and cognitive functioning. Thoughts originate in the frontal lobe, but must conclusively be sent to the motor strip, which runs from the top of the head to the bottom of the ear. Without this transportation from the frontal lobe to the motor strips, thoughts would remain thoughts, and actions would be non-existent. The corpus callosum is this connective tract that not only enables the signals to run from the frontal lobe to the motor strip, but allows the two hemispheres of the brain to effectively communicate. Beverly's left hand appears to have a life of its own, or functions without her being conscious of it, since this disconnect between the two hemispheres enables one hand to function as intended, without signaling the other hand, permitting the other limb to act on its own free will.
Even with my epilepsy, being in public was tolerable, but now that I have alien hand syndrome, being in public is a luxury I can't afford. I mean, I've had incidents where my left hand has tried to stuff food into my mouth while I try to have a casual meal at my favorite restaurant. I mean, it's tried to choke me on numerous occasions. It's just hard. I mean, some common side effects are I will grasp things involuntarily at the most inconvenient times. And since there is no cure for alien hand syndrome, I have referred to wearing an oven mitt at all times. I mean, how humiliating is that? I'm 19 years old, and I have to go in public with an oven mitt? It seems like I'm perpetually baking a pie. I don't want that.
Tiffany has been suffering from alien hand syndrome for almost a decade now. She was diagnosed with the disease after initially being diagnosed with corticobasal degeneration, a rare progressive disease involving both cerebral cortex and extrapyramidal structures.
The most common neurologically degenerative disease associated with AHS is corticobasal degeneration. Like seen in Tiffany's case, the extrapyramidal structures used to define corticobasal degeneration are portions of the brain's tracts that mandate body movement. The cerebral cortex could be deemed the capital of the brain, being the ultimate control and information processing center. When a disease affects both of these essential structures, voluntary movement will be impaired, again, causing the involuntary movements of the left limb, alien hand syndrome.
Tiffany has developed a severe fear of men, thinking no one of the opposite sex could ever accept her with her condition. Will Tiffany be able to overcome her fears or remain alone forever?
It's so hard for me to have alien hand syndrome. At night, I have to tie my hands to my legs to prevent any attacks during the night. And my worst problem with it is my fear of men. I'm very uncomfortable around them. How could somebody feel comfortable around me when I don't even have control of my left hand? I could just simply attack them or myself, and they wouldn't have any control over it because I don't have control over it. My fear of men originated when I went on a date when I was 13, and my date was eating some ice cream, and when he went to take a lick, my left hand thought it would be better all over his face.
I'm out of here.
And I'll never be the same. When I unzipped Brad's jacket.
Hey,
What's going on?
how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Good.
It was our first time seeing each other since our date, which was 5 years ago. And it's just so hard. There are no known cures or treatments for my alien hand syndrome. As you can see now, I have it hidden under this pillow to prevent any unwanted actions. I am forced to live with this for the rest of my life, or until I succumb to the actions of my alien hand.
No.